couple of stories, alarming stories that shouldn't surprise anyone, but perhaps it will. It doesn't surprise me at all. This is in regards to Mississippi Department of Human Services, Child Protective Services, if you will, in the state of Mississippi. The Child Protective Services nationwide is infected with a malignant cancer, a systemic and abject corruption, and abject systemic failure to hundreds and thousands of children across this country as of today. I've got two stories for you, so you want to sit down and wait for it. Before I jump into it, and these stories, one comes out of Lowndes County, Mississippi, and the other out of Calhoun County, Mississippi. Before I jump into it, I want to encourage you, if you're not subscribed, to subscribe to our channel and to share our content relentlessly. In the description of this video is our link tree. Within that link tree, you'll have access to some of our other platforms and links to our other platforms. WordPress and Substack. I write blogs, news articles. So anyone that's new to this channel and our content, I encourage you to go to our Substack, USAGSA, substack.com. And there's a lot of information there about the program and the programs that we expose here. So if you're not in the know, go there and that'll bring you up to par. Also, within the link tree are the various ways you can support USAGSA. As I've stated many times before, we're 100% supported by our viewers, followers, and listeners. Without you, without your support, we can't do what we're doing. What do? We expose these corrupt government programs. We expose the politicians and elected officials, other elected officials, as well as law enforcement that run these programs, that run the criminal element of these programs, that are criminals themselves, and we expose these criminals with badges. Also, we give voice to the victims across this country, many of which have lost hope, have been marginalized, dismissed, and written off with society. We give them a voice here. This platform and this association is about exposure, advocacy, and change for all Americans. And for those that have been faithful to support USAGSA, once again, I want to personally thank you. You know who you are. I've contacted you, and we've had a lot of exchanges, some of them minimal, but you know that I know who you are, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you. Well, folks, I don't really, I tell you what, I'm going to start with Lowndes County, and then we'll go over to Calhoun County. But let me lay the groundwork, if I will. The COPS program, the Department of Justice COPS program, and the National Association, Sheriff's Association, Neighborhood Watch. Again, all the details about that is in my latest article on Substack about the triggering tactics and psychological warfare that has been lodged against millions of Americans. But through this holistic approach to policing, meaning everyone doing their part for a safer and Project Safe Neighborhood and all of this stuff, everyone does their part. And CPS is a major player in this operation, which violates Americans' constitutional rights. But they've managed to skirt that constitutional rights of these individuals due in part by the Patriot Act and by these power-hungry, money-hungry criminal despots that want to place American citizens, innocent American citizens, on a watch list where they will remain until they're dead. That's the only way they get off this list. Now, so the list generates income for these local communities and local law enforcement agencies. So in each county, every state in the United States of America participates at some level in this program. So there you have it. That's what it is. Referred to as gang stalking. These criminals with badges and their community pathetics that participate in this program of targeting and torturing and annihilating American citizens in plain sight will deny any such thing. They say these people are psychotic. They're suffering from a made-up diagnosis called schizophrenia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because of its sinister steps and the sinister roots of this program and the objectionable content of what they teach these community people and these frontline crash dummy informant rats is nothing short of demonic. So this is, and I've got several reports from neighbors and parents that are reporting this, as well as parents that are getting firsthand information from their children that are friends with children that are involved in this particular case. So CPS, what is their role in this holistic approach to policing? It's a big role. They work hand in hand, right hand, if you will, of your criminal with a badge, the sheriff, our chief, in your city or county. If a person they decide to target has children, CPS is immediately called on the carpet on this deal. This is without any clue, any iota of any misbehavior of the parents of the children or mistreatment or anything. That has nothing to do with it. No more than it has anything to do with the innocence or guilt of a person that's being targeted by this unlawful and diabolical program. And so law enforcement working with CPS, and if CPS is contacted, they contact law enforcement and vice versa. They work together side by side. The fix is in. Once these individuals are targeted, one of two things happen. They're either manipulated and used as frontline crash dummy soldiers in this community-oriented policing program. And they leverage custody of their children as their motivation to get these individuals to cooperate. Now, they prey on those of the lowest socioeconomic standings in our state, which is one of the poorest, if not the poorest, state in the union. Oftentimes, these individuals may have alcohol or drug problems. There may be abuse, etc., etc., etc. None of these things I just mentioned matter. No kind of abuse. Doesn't matter the drugs. It doesn't matter what's going on. They don't care. Now, the community orgasmic policing, these community watch stalkers will it's anytime they're complaining about something and they want to attack somebody, usually the first sentence or two of any of their psychobabble is something about the children. So that's their talking point. Don't you want our children to be safe? Well, yeah, okay, then leave us alone. We know what we're doing. You don't know. Blah, 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 blah. And okay, I'll let you have it. God Almighty. So go with it. And that's the problem, folks. Far too long, this country and its citizenry has let them go with it. If we aim to try to turn the tables on some of this stuff one at a time, ever how we have to do it. And this falls at the feet of the governor of Mississippi, Tate Reeves, that I'm going to read a statement that he gave in regards to Child Protective Services, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it will make sense to some of y'all. Now, so these reports come in, and I'm just going to give you an idea of what's going on with CPS and their partner, Crooked Eddie Hawkins, the sheriff of Lowndes County. So Crooked Eddie and Child Protective Services have a marriage. And if these people are frontline crash dummy stalkers, they'll leave the children in the home. It don't matter what condition or what the hell's going on in there. They don't care. I've done told them, give a shit about the children, okay? And so I'm not going to apologize for my language. This is not a children's show. If you got a kid in there, I put them on Nickelodeon and get them out of the way, because I am not using a filter today, okay? Hey, you can't use a filter. I'm going to try, but I'm telling you. So this story is about, and I'm going to name the parents, okay? And I'm not going to name the children for obvious reasons. I'm going to name the parents. And I'm going to name the grandparents. And folks, if this don't blow your lid off, and you don't have a lid. So this is two children. There's a 15-year-old boy, and I'm not sure what the maybe it's just one on this one. So a 14-year-old, 15 now, 14 or 15, okay, and is complaining. He's cussing his mom out in this particular report after she brings crap home for them to eat from dumpster diving. That's right, dumpster diving. Now, I'll go keep on rolling with it. And being mad at his mother because she didn't get home quick enough to bring him some weed. This is the 15-year-old or 14-year-old. Let's give you a name in a minute. Now, let me just go and do that without any further ado. Now, the mother, and I don't know if she lives with him or not. You can't tell about these deals. It's Erica Page Adams. She's crash dummy and snitching and knocking people's heads off and not taking care of her kids. And she lost her custody rights. We know how that happened. I just told you how that happened. She lost her custody rights. CPS did that. And that's how they manipulate and control these people. She didn't have any business with a kid. But don't jump into this. They didn't have any business with children and all this stuff. I'm going to address that in a minute. That's a whole other story. The majority of the children that are being manipulated and leveraged and used in this state are with good parents and good families. And CPS hadn't got any business with the children. Okay. So we'll get into that in just a minute. Now, the father is Scotty Evans. Now, he's got custody of the boy. Imagine the boy hadn't been to school in almost a year. Okay. And he's busy, I'm told, staying high on meth and drinking and chasing whores, and the whores are helping raise him. So if the mother's there with the whores, or the mother is removed, she's in on the deal, he's in on the deal. That's the way it stands. It gets better, folks. It gets better. And CPS is involved in this situation. Imagine that. Okay. The grandmother, get this, the grandmother knows full well that the mother and the dad are dope addicts. And she allows them to leave with the child. And when the dad is too drunk to walk and too geeked up to talk, that doesn't matter. She lets him take off with the kid in the car. Now I wonder why CPS is allowing this. Are they aware of it? You betcha. You betcha. Well, first of all, let's tell you who the grandmother is that has been on hands right there during this for years, watching this abject neglect and abuse of a child. And complaints going on at that house with traffic around the clock and people coming in and out of the child's window all hours of the night. Noise, loud music. It is a 3-ring circus, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But the grandmother, seeing all this, did she play a role in this? Well, I would think so. The grandmother is none other than hand in hand best buddies with Crooked Eddie Hawkins. Imagine that. Not only is she best buddies with Crooked Eddie Hawkins, she's got a lot of pull in that trash bin of a department called the Sheriff's Department, Lowndes County, Mississippi. Her name is Debbie Sturgis. And Debbie Sturgis is retired from the Department of Human Services, Child Protective Services. And honey, Debbie Sturgis in North Mississippi is a gold standard and holds the clout in Child Protective Services. That she's the one that was bedfellows with all these corrupt sheriffs and made their cops program and their neighborhood watch program evolve into this system of manipulating, recruiting, and destroying countless lives of children and adults. Not only is Debbie Sturgis the grandmother, and she is responsible, golly knows, of how many thousands of children that have been separated and were separated and lost to their parents unlawfully, wrongfully. So I'm here to tell you, Debbie, honey, your chickens are coming home to roost. I'm just one of them. There'll be more, I assure you. That's what my job is, to open up the damn chicken coop and let these roosters come home and these chickens come home to roost. And that's where they're headed. But they've got a CPS officer. I only have her first name there in Lowndes County. Her name is Sophia. And Sophia is blind, deaf, dumb, and obviously mute and everything else to this whole situation. She ignores the blunt roaches laying all over the house and the smell, a reek of weed. But I'm told it would be hard for her to smell marijuana or any other thing in that house due to the overwhelming smell of wall-to-wall piles of dog shit. I could have used another word, but like I say, I'm just going to lay it out there. Wall-to-wall dog shit. Not in the yard, in the house. Piss. Dog piss as well. The floors, everything's soaked in it. I've seen recordings of the boy walking around outside, cussing his grandmama, Miss Sturgis, out while they're stepping over piles of garbage and more shit in the yard that spread out everywhere. The neighbors have complained about the traffic, and people are outside all night with flashlights walking around the house, coming in and out the windows, and adults going through the child's bedroom window. And folks, it's of course, I say of course, this is a trailer. It's a double wide. Some of those, I want you to get in fancy house trailer. People in double wides, they want to correct you. It's a manufactured home. However, what? It's a house trailer, and they're in a house trailer. And folks, like I said, the boy hadn't been to school, and we know that Sophia, the current employee at Child Protective Services, that is supervising this dope addict and the whores, crash dummies, and leveraging the child. And I'm sure they're leveraging him. Well, if you don't do this, we're going to charge you with a child endangerment, which is a felony charge. You're using dope around a minor, period. He's not getting those charges. The mother ain't getting them charges. The damn grandmama is not getting them charges yet. Those charges should be forthcoming in short order. There's plenty of video footage. There's plenty of witness statements. All they got to do, I know y'all watch this down there in Lowndes County Sheriff's Department. Why don't you pretend like you're going to do your job, roll out there and do your job. Arrest the parents, the grandmama, and find Sophia and lock her ass up. But we know you're not going to do any of those things. You're going to skirt it, talk over it, pass by it, or accuse myself and the witnesses and everybody else of being delusional. You're not going to do anything about it. Are you, Eddie? You don't give a shit about the children, do you, Eddie? We know you don't. That's just a talking point. That just sounds good. That helps you get votes until individuals start exposing you. Then you'll trump up charges and indict them, get them indicted and convicted and send them to prison for 24 mandatory years for exercising their First Amendment right and exposing this corruption. Suppose you, Eddie. That's the way you get down. But I'm a red-blooded American, and I'm going to tell you what. This is the way I get down. And this is the way most red-blooded Americans get down, is we've had enough. We've heard enough. If you care, why is this child living in these horrid conditions? You tell me. It makes zero sense to me. This is not the first story that I've gotten out of Lowndes County. It's not the first story I've gotten on how family after family after family has been destroyed by Child Protective Services. Now, Mississippi, Tate Reeves, when he gave a statement about this, Well, Mississippi Today, a couple of years ago, they tried to get an interview. His spokesperson said, and I quote, Governor Reeves believes current child protective services in Mississippi meet and exceed constitutional standards, she said. And now, folks, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. It meets constitutional standards. There's nothing in the Constitution that addresses the welfare of a child. Okay? Period. Now, what standard he's talking about? Neither did the people attempting to do the interview. They had no idea what that statement's about. I still don't. Maybe some of you know what it means, and you can let me know. At that time, there were reports of harrowing accounts of abuse and neglect in the state's foster care system, including teenagers who escaped and became involved in sex trafficking. Now, we hear in Lowndes County and everywhere else how at the time they're getting more money and funding and doing this and that for sex trafficking. When I'm talking about sex trafficking, I'm talking about children sex trafficking, okay? I'm not talking about a prostitution ring like the gonorrhea sting unit in Lowndes County involved in it. Some of them got fired. Max Branch and Lance Lucky and those clowns involved in. I reported before about how these children, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, being used to troll social media. It's not just the perverted investigators like Jeff Edmondson, a.k.a. Sidney Anderson, among many other transvestite drag queen names, are trolling and trying to trick grown folks into coming to motels for sex and dope. Not just that. They've actually got the kids there. I've actually got pictures of children smoking meth and marijuana less than 24 hours before going in to testify in federal court against someone that was targeted there in Lowndes County. How soon we forget, for those that don't remember that. It's still up and running. Just look at the Lowndes County, Mississippi playlist and you'll find it. Lay it all out there. This COPS program, this Neighborhood Watch program, my friend, is responsible for the crimes and drugs in this country. The majority of it. Now, if you have a hard time believing that, folks, let me tell you, whoever that may be said, I have a hard time believing that. Yeah, go back and just stay with CNN or whatever you're watching. Oprah Winfrey, Donald Duck, or whatever the hell you're keyed in on, and you stay with it while the rest of the country goes to hell in a handbasket. It's because of people like you. The CIA officially admitted to flooding America's streets in the 80s with cocaine. They created the crack cocaine epidemic that enslaved millions of Americans. Hundreds of thousands died. Hundreds of thousands went to prison. It decimated America's inner cities, and it still lingers today. They admitted that to fund the Civil War in Central America because Americans couldn't stomach funding this. They did it with cocaine. It was America. It was the CIA that made Pablo Escobar. Before there was an El Chapo, there was somebody named Pablo Escobar that could buy and sell El Chapo out of his coin purse. The CIA made that happen, and they admitted it. That's public knowledge. So now with the Patriot Act, we don't have anything blowing up in America, do we? Not even so much as a matchbox catching on fire. It's working. That's their sales pitch. We have a safe America. All the while, people are having this orgasmic dream of it's working. I never consider the possibility how Islam hates America. They hate the infidel. Period. That is a religion of hate. So for those that believe otherwise, you can jump to another channel. I'm not going to change up on that either. I'm going to keep it real. As much as they hate America, and they have all the money, because we're not pumping oil in America anymore. God, no. We're buying it from Central America and from the Middle East. We're buying it from people. No country that we buy oil from have any semblance of a free society. They hate America. They hate our values. They hate our Constitution. But most of all, they hate God. And now we have people that are taking oaths on a Bible they've never read, and they may be a deacon of the local fake church, to a God they don't believe in, to a Constitution they think is a piece of trash. That's who's wearing a badge at your local department. I don't care how well you think you know them. If they're participating in this program, which they are, honey, you're just seeing the side the devil wants you to see. They hate this country, but yet we hadn't had anything explode since 9/11, have we? How is it that they can't get across the border? The border's wide open. We know that. Wide ass open. We're buying tens upon thousands of motel rooms for illegals. And they waltz them right past hordes of homeless, disabled veterans that have nothing more than a cardboard box to sleep under. The ones that put their life on the line for us to have that Constitution. But this COPS program and this National Sheriff's Association Neighborhood Watch and this community involvement of policing and having safer neighborhoods, my friend, is as evil as it gets. What I'm describing to you, ladies and gentlemen, is what the deep state is. For those that thought it was something, a deep swamp in D.C., my ass, it's right there in your front yard is where it is. They ain't got anything over this open border to blow up buildings, coliseums and arenas or anything else. It's working. How is it then, if it's working, they can't get one thimbleful of C4 explosives across the border? Homeland Security, Big Brother has stopped that. Yet, the Mexican cartels, in which Mexico is known for producing some of the most intellectual, intelligent people on this planet. They've invented a lot of things like, piñatas. They figured out how to get metric tons of methamphetamine and fentanyl across the damn border. Yeah, folks, if that don't blow your mind, nothing will. Now, some may believe, well, they're making it here. Eddie Hawkins said they had over 1,000 meth labs in Lowndes County. El Chapo didn't have a damn 1,000 meth labs, but Eddie Hawkins had them in Lowndes County because the government eased up on the cough syrup or cough medicine ban or some kind of bull crap like that. It's always BS, ladies and gentlemen. BS. Without crime, dope, and vice, all these departments, all these millions of workers and hundreds of millions of dollars, what are they going to do with it? It's a money grab. That's what feeds the beast. We're going to have crime, you're going to get it. And when we create the crime, guess what? We need help. We got that too. The perfect paradigm. We're going to have the problem. Here's the help. Exactly. And we can raise those parallels of the last 100 years in this country. Not going into all that today, because I've got something more startling than this over in Calhoun County. They're also responsible for the sex trafficking. These people out here watching, lurking, following, and playing games with grown folks, destroying their lives, starting gossip campaigns, rumor mills, destroying their finances, their employment, their family, taking their children. They're losing their homes. They're taking their lives. They're being written off as insane, or they're being falsely accused and imprisoned, because this program is designed to do one thing only, that's to annihilate the target. As long as they got warm bodies and names on the list, the program keeps rolling on. And America keeps acting like they don't know what the hell's going on. Now, that's Lowndes County. Y'all got something to know on over there at Hawkins, and we're going to follow up on this. And I'll know here in a couple of days just how many SWAT cars and cop cars and tanks and helicopters landed over here at this double wide house trailer full of dope, whores, dog shit, and piss, including Miss Sturgis, and why a child is able and allowed to exist in that. Even though Sophia, working for Child Protective Services, obviously is just clueless. No, she's culpable in criminal activity and needs to be charged accordingly. That's the deal on that. My second story, folks, comes out of Calhoun County. I want to make sure, I'm pretty sure I got his name right, but I want to make sure. And that is about Willie Malone. I think they might have covered a little bit in the news. Back in August of this year, Willie had been doing a little bit of time at Calhoun County Jail. And that's Greg Pollan's cesspool there in Calhoun County. And folks, when we talk about abject corruption, we just hadn't had a chance. I hadn't had a chance to dial up Calhoun County and that whole area down there, Vardaman, Grenada, and all that in that area. It is a cesspool of corruption. And we can't begin talking about that unless we start with the chief criminal in charge, and that's the Sheriff Greg Pollan. So he's in Greg Pollan's jail, which, as he refers, it's his jail. No, Greg, it's not your jail. It's ours. We, the people. We paid for that shit, that car, that ill-fitting uniform, and all the toys and all that bull crap ain't yours. It's ours. Whether you want to believe that or not, and you hate transparency, and you don't want to be called out and questioned about what you're really doing. And when confronted, then, and the truth comes out, the first thing you want to do is try to destroy the messenger, because they got it all wrong. We got to stop the messenger. Some messengers are not buying into your bull crap, Greg. So Willie Malone gets released from the jail on house arrest with monitoring, an ankle monitor. I don't know what he did. It don't matter what he did. I don't care what he did, because, honey, what he did is not part of this equation. That's another talking point of this community orgasmic policing thing that we're talking about. They always want to discredit, marginalize, and dismiss the victim as that blah, blah, they did this, they did that, they da, 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 and they don't ever want to hear the story about what happened. Well, they're crazy. I don't care if they're mongoloids. If it don't matter. Go kill one and say, well, they're crazy. I killed them. Oh, well, okay, then they're crazy. Then you can do that. That's usually not passable. I mean, it is in Mississippi. You know, it's a very low bar. So Willie gets out. Now, Willie's got a girlfriend. Her name is Tessa. I think I got that right. Yeah, Tessa Moore. I'm quite sure she and I are not related. We could be. But that's I could care less. Tessa Moore, and guess who she works for? You guess it. Some of you getting ahead of me. Child Protective Services. Now, the day he got released, he went to Tessa's house first thing in the morning because she said, "Come on over here. I got you a phone." Because you got to have a phone with this monitor, and they got to be able to say in touch, I've got you a phone. So come get it. Now, prior to him going to jail, he was on the lam because he shot somebody there in Lowndes County. I don't know the particular time that, but he shot somebody. He was on the lam. Supposedly, Greg Pollan and his clutch were looking for Willie. Or were they? Well, folks, let me tell you. Willie was with Tessa the whole time. Tessa and Willie were going to Atlanta and all over the place, traveling, Snapchatting, Instagramming, Facebooking. It wasn't no damn secret. I thought that was harboring a fugitive. Apparently not in the world of Greg Pollan and the world of CPS. That's called business as usual. That means as long as you're in the family and you're part of this orgasmic policing corruption, you can do anything you want to do. Because who they going to call? They're going to call us. What are we going to do? We're not going to do a thing. And that includes calling the FBI or Attorney General of the state of Mississippi, Lynn Fitch, or Sean Tindall, or the governor, or whoever you want to call. Now, how you like them apples? So an American citizen targeted and has issues has really got a difficult time and a almost zero chance of having any kind of due process because his constitutional rights are being abjectly denied. And the people that are denying them are denying that they're being denied, including his own attorney. Holistic approach, everybody doing their part. Now, so he goes to jail for this, he gets out, goes to Tessa's, helps dress her child, sends the child off to school, and him and Tessa get down. You know what I mean? They get that knocked out of the way. But during this, the phone keeps ringing and ringing and ringing. And she got this phone for him. And I don't know if it was her phone or his phone. It don't matter whose phone it was. But the phone kept ringing. He gets the phone trying to figure out who in the hell this is that can't stop calling. And he would not give the phone back to her. I believe it's the phone that she gave him, I'm pretty sure. Because when he's got that phone, she's on her phone trying to call C-Spire, the cell provider, to get the phone turned off. I mean, he's not going to give it back to me. I was getting turned off. Now, later, she claims that she felt threatened. If somebody's in your house and you feel threatened and you feel like your life's in danger, of course you call the cell phone provider and get somebody in Bangkok, India, and try to explain to them that somebody won't give you your phone back. That's exactly what you do. Or you call Domino's Pizza. Or you might dial 911. That's a damn thought, isn't it? Or maybe it's all a damn lie, Tessa. Which that's what it is, isn't it, Tessa? Because Tessa, who is she in bed with? Greg Pollan. They working hand in hand, just like Lowndes County with Sturgis, Sophia, and Crooked Eddie Hawkins. Calhoun County. So she wasn't worried about anything. Nothing. She goes into her bedroom, I believe, and he stops at the bedroom door. They're having a heated argument. It hadn't raised to the level of anything other than voices being raised. Give me that phone back. No, who in the hell is this on the phone? Of course. He'd want to know, any other man in that situation would want to know what the deal is. She wouldn't tell him. She gets her pistol and unloads it on Willie, shooting him 13 times, half of them in the back because he was trying to get the hell out of there. 13 times. Not once. Didn't flash the gun. Didn't say, if you don't leave or give me that, I'm going to shoot you. She turned around with a gun and unloaded it on him. He had to take her car. She called an ambulance. He had to take her car and drive himself about 5-6 miles down the road to the Calhoun Hospital, Calhoun County Hospital, whatever it's called. I think it's Baptist Hospital in Calhoun City, I think. Which, most of the time, about the only thing you can get triage there is an acute need for an enema. Anything else, you're shit out of luck. In his case, he was shit out of luck. They got him on a med flight, obviously, to the med in Memphis, which is one of the best urgent care or triage centers in the country. And the med sees people getting shot up around the clock in there, and it's a revolving door, and they've got some of the best in the world in there treating that. So they sent him there. If it weren't for that, we'd be talking about Willie being dead. She did give a statement, and part of her statement was that she felt threatened, et cetera, et cetera. There was no evidence, no statements or anything to indicate that he laid a hand on her, even tried to lay a hand on her. Of course, she had no marks on her body. It was never anything physical other than what was physical in the sack prior to the phone ringing off a damn hook, during the sack time and after the sack time. He wants to know who the hell it is on the phone. I'll tell you who it was on the phone here in a second. Now, when somebody unloads a pistol on somebody else, I don't care if it's in there where it is, that usually ends up in somebody's ass going to jail or getting charged. And if she can't prove self-defense, which she couldn't prove, and there was no evidence of that, invited, all this stuff, wasn't an intruder, none of that. He was there when he said he was. He got this monitor on DPS deal that's got to the second where he was at all times, his movement. Exactly what the deal was. They didn't care about none of that. They didn't charge her with assault with a deadly weapon or attempted manslaughter. She didn't get charged at all. They didn't charge Willie neither. I'm surprised for what it would have been, but they made it something they wanted to. But they didn't matter. Willie is targeted by this program. There's a lot of reasons why he's targeted. He has prior conviction. He's he breathes and eats. He's African American. He's black. Now that's another reason. But we got just as many African American blacks that are participating in this program, targeting their own, if you can believe that. War veterans targeting their own. 22 of them die a day, commit suicide. Tens upon thousands right now our American streets homeless right now, veterans. But this program and these criminals with badges that love these black and white flags on their uniforms and want to talk about God and country and all this kind of stuff, hate this country, hate God, and hate the Constitution. So it stands to reason why they have no problems targeting those that really put their lives on the line. Those are the real first responders, by the way. Those people on the front lines that left here to fight for something they thought was greater than themselves. Many of them never came home. Many of them came home to be spit on. Remember Vietnam. And they're still coming home and being diagnosed with crazy ass made up shit. They're not getting adequate medical attention. I don't want to make this about the veterans, but I can't talk about without talking about the veterans. So in September the 15th, a complaint was made on Willie is recovering from this attempted murder from a Child Protective Services worker. September the 15th, the complaint was made by a Carlos, have his last name, and they arrested Willie on the 17th for cyber stalking. God bless you, Willie. I know that you don't understand. You'll see this eventually, but I understand. They love to charge a victim of relentless stalking and harassment with something like cyber stalking. That is how they get their rocks off. That, amongst a lot of other sicko things that they do to entertain themselves. So what was the cyber stalking? This Carlos is the clown that was ringing the damn phone off the hook. Now, she insisted that he hurry up, come over and get the phone. She bought him. We keep up with this thing. Well, let me tell you what, folks. She and Carlos, the sheriff, community orgasmic policing, hatched a plan. Here's the plan. It's going to come over here. Y'all do what y'all do. We're going to ring his phone off there. Is that going to tick him off? Yeah, it's going to tick him off. And when he starts talking about it and gets heated, you get a gun and kill his ass. And you're Gucci. That was what really happened, folks. The fix was in, and this is how they work, folks. This is how they destroy victims and families. They make everything look like it's just some organic problem that happened. Could have happened to anybody, anywhere. It happens all the time. That just stands to reason. It never dawns on a person that the whole story was manufactured. And in Willie Malone's case, Willie knows that something wasn't right from the get-go. Him and the girl had that thing. Remember, harboring a fugitive, all this stuff. He was being used and played in this whole deal. And this is how they target people. Surprisingly, Willie lived. So Carlos, this September, they arrest him. They arrest Willie for cyber stalking. And Willie, and I believe him, has never one time attempted to contact this Carlos clown. That is a damn lie. But what do you think the system is going to run with? They're going to run with the guy that got out of jail. He's big. He's had priors, blah, blah, blah. They're going to run with that. And his poor helpless CPS worker and her lover. And she wasn't having nothing to do with Willie. She was just, it'll be a lie. And they'll go with it. And they will ultimately and finally annihilate their target as planned. And this is how it works. I've covered case after case after case, including myself. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how it works. They tailor make the hit. They take their time. They got all the time in the world. But you can rest assured, They lay piece after piece after piece, and they got the puzzle put together, and the target is destroyed. And there's virtually no way to escape these claptraps of crime. Willie is now back in corrupt Greg Pollan's jail. Our jail. It's not your jail, Greg. Willie is having to use a walker. He has not recovered. He is recovering from his attempted murder. He's having to use a walker. He is getting no medical care in that jail. And after all, who in the hell would it be? I've already explained about the hospital there. I mean, they've got some nurse practitioners and maybe some people that can change bedpans, but we're not going to give medical service to a black man at the county jail. He probably deserved it. Let him die. That's the mindset, especially in the dirty South. The mindset with Child Protective Services is this. The reason they have such a difficult time in this state with children being able to legally, which is mandated that the parents get to visit under some type of circumstances with their children at least once every 30 days. It happens less than 20% of the cases, and it's supposed to happen in 100% of the cases. Why doesn't it happen? The mentality is, if they can't take care of their children, they don't deserve children. They're placing these children with the pathetics, deplorable morons, these godless, despicable pathetics that stalk and harass and target American citizens. These are the sex trafficking, perverted ass clowns that CPS is putting the children with. And they are espousing and spewing this BS. They don't deserve children, right? And nobody ever stands and said, you know what, Miss Loudmouth, I hadn't seen any of the facts on this. Your story sounds good, but I ain't buying it until I see and have somebody I can trust to give me the truth. And folks, you ain't getting the truth. So they destroy the family, the parents' reputation. They've got them being everything but a child of God. And in most cases, nothing can be further from the truth. All the while, they have those that have no business with children, got children. Dog shit, piss, Debbie Sturgis. We just covered that. So we've got people like Tess Moore involved in this. She is the one that's doing the home visits with the sheriff and deciding whether or not these children can live with their family. Really. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the rest of the story. Calhoun County, Lowndes County, and fill in the blank county, anywhere in Mississippi. And then we can go to any town America. And this systemic culture of abject corruption is continuing, decimating, destroying families and children. Join us as we continue our quest at exposing this corruption and advocating for the victims. I encourage you to keep this child that's living in these conditions, him in your prayers, as well as Willie Malone that's sitting over there in a damn dungeon, not being fed and proper nutrition, not getting proper medical care, and they're on a trumped up charge. He's a black man in dirty South Mississippi. Folks, he has got almost a zero chance of making it through this. Is that really Mississippi and the rest of America? Is that really what we're about in 2024? Folks, I'm not about that. And I believe there's plenty of you there or listening and watching that are about that. It's time change takes place. We start changing at the polls and we start investigating, because these sheriffs have no oversight, zero oversight. They can rape. I've covered these. They're raping killing. They have sanctioned murder and rape and everything else by the sheriff and his deputies. Nothing is being done. Not the attorney general, not the FBI, nobody. But it begins when you pull that lever. And you got an ass clown that's up there lying through his tooth, and you put him in there. And then anybody past today that goes to the polls and votes for that sheriff, any of these sheriffs that I mentioned, let me tell you what, friend, blood is on your hands. You're just as guilty as they are. Folks, I appreciate you. And until next time, God bless you.